forward to this computer. All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Success Shift. I'm here with another interview episode, and today's guest is one of the youngest, most impressive people that I've gotten an opportunity to meet over the last few months. What I love about him is he's from my hometown as well, which is great. Most of you know that I've traveled around and I haven't been in Perth for, well, I've been there for about 2 months in the last 6 years, but this young lad's 23 years old from my hometown. He was on apprenticeship wage, and starting January last year, he decided to make changes of that, got into a bit of trading and network marketing, and within just a shorter period of time, he has now hit 5-figure months, taking what was 6 months worth of work and turning it into 1 month worth of wage, which at the age of 23 is incredible and very, very life-changing. But not only that, this guy has some of the best discipline that I've seen from a young bloke. Honestly, I've seen him on social media doing some of these crazy challenges. He's had 200 days of discipline now, wasn't even 100. He doubled that. He's still going on, if I'm not mistaken. He's done some crazy marathon runs over 48 hours. He's well into his ice baths. He's got the mental discipline of an absolute beast. And he's just crushing his industry. He's become the youngest director. He's the #1 recruiter in his company. He's the top visionary of 2022. And he's absolutely crushing it at life. So not only that, but I think, and we'll get into this, but I think you've become sober at 23, which sounds crazy, especially for those of you that know what it's like growing up in Perth. We do like a good beer and a good party. So what I did for all my 20s was like that. So to do that at such a young age, I am so impressed with how far you've come so quickly. And without further ado, Bayley Powell, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Oh, amazing, bro. That was an incredible introduction, man. And like as soon as I heard your podcast for the first time, I was like, I need to meet this guy. And then I realized, you were from Perth and that I have spoken to you and you're the one who recommended the podcast. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. It's just, I loved it, man. It was really good what you did. And I just really related to it. So I wanted
Thanks,
to,
man.
to get to know you and jump on here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, for from my point of view, I'm a trader as well. So you do trading, you're in the crypto space more so. I do scalp trading and a bit of crypto trading. But for me, I just wanted to find a way to kind of give people the mindset shifts that they need to really make it in this space and in all entrepreneurship, because I'm sure you can contest to this, that like mindset is like 90%, if not more, trading, entrepreneurship, success in life. I think so much of that comes to what goes on inside your head and the discipline and the willpower and stuff like that that you can create. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I believe like if you can master your mind, you can master anything because your
Yeah.
mind is at the end of the day is what actually controls you and what you do and what you believe in, the way that you think. And I just believe if you can control your mind and create that discipline, like there's not much that you can't achieve.
Yeah.
When you think about it, the only difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is the way they think. It's their mindset.
It's so true. And I find that the more people I speak to on this podcast, those 7-figure earners, whenever I speak to them, you can tell it's a different conversation. You've had the luxury of speaking to multimillionaires as well, and you can feel the energy, just the conversation's different, just the way that they talk to you is different, the way they talk about themselves and hold themselves. It's just a different mindset, really. And I think the more we can bring that to everyone, hopefully the more people can cling on to that and find the little nuggets or little mindset shifts that they need to get them to the level of whatever it is they're striving for, entrepreneurship, trading, whatever it is. Those key little, I don't know about you, but I hear like one sentence every now and again and it just kind of joins the dots. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's what I needed to hear at this point in time. And then
Yeah.
sometime, maybe 6 months later, there'll be a bunch of other information and 2 more dots will be joined. And I'm like, that's what I needed.
Yeah. It's like when you read a book for the second time. Like the
Mm,
first time you read it, you're in it with a very new mind, but then the second time you're in it with another new mind, but a more developed mind, and it's like reading a completely different book. It's the same
yeah.
thing as like when you're listening to someone you might have heard of 100 times, but for some reason when someone else says it, it clicks. It's like what? It's like they
Yeah.
didn't say anything different. It was just like that you just needed to hear it at that time because your mindset wasn't developed to hear it when you did hear it the first time.
Yeah. I think that's a really key factor as well, because I find lots of people without a growth mindset, they kind of shut off when you go to tell them something. It's like, I've heard this before, and they don't want to hear it. But you never know when that'll hit differently with the information that you've gained since hearing it last time, and maybe the state of mind that you're in. Maybe last time you were frustrated, maybe this time you're in a happy, joyous mode and mind, and that's what you kind of needed to make that connection. And I love that rereading books. I never used to do that. I used to think, yeah, I've read that. have that egotistical, like I've read that book. I didn't really like reading till I was probably 26, so even older than you are now. But now I love it. But yeah, I had that egotistical, like I've read this book. Now get a book. I'm like, how many times can I read this before like I want to find something else? And like audiobooks as well. I've 2, 3 times because you hear it from a different state of mind and you hear it from a different frame of reference, and it often brings me those new bits of information.
Have you tried something that I heard Alex Amosi talk about, where, or even I think it was Rob Dial actually, you read a book while listening to the audio at the same time. So you're getting like two stimuluses at the
I
same
haven't
time,
tried
which
that.
allows you to actually retain the information, but also read faster because you're listening and reading the book. I haven't done it before, but I definitely want to. And one of the books I really want to do it with is Outwitting the Devil by
Okay.
Napoleon Hill, because that book is just crazy. It wasn't able to be published until all the people in the Napoleon family died. So
Oh wow.
it's going to be pretty interesting to read. I've got it next to read. I can't wait.
I haven't
It's
heard
going
of
to be
that
awesome.
one. I'm gonna have to chuck it on my list of books here. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Right, let's dig into a little bit of your journey. You've come so fast, so far, so fast, shall we say, and at such a young age. Why don't you take me back to a little bit like what did baby Bayley want to do? Like I'm sure coming out of school you weren't seeing yourself as the number one network marketer at 23. What did you start? What did you want to do to begin?
So pretty much through high school, I didn't want to do uni. I didn't enjoy high school, like in terms of homework and study and all that kind of stuff. I always loved playing sports.
Hmm.
So I realized I didn't want to go to uni. So I realized I had to get a trade, like most people. And my uncle was very successful as an electrician, and I just thought that's just where the money is going to be made. So as soon as I finished high school, actually in year 12, I did um, a Cert 2 in electrotechnology, which allows you to get into a Sparky apprenticeship
Nice.
easier. So I did that in year 12. So I was only at work. I was only at school 3 days a week, which was really cool. I loved
Yeah.
that, and the fact I was at TAFE and at working 2 times that week as well. But what I really did enjoy it. Like love working with my hands and all that kind of stuff. Kind of crazy to think now I don't work with my hands. I change people's lives and I trade financial markets. It's quite mind blowing. But before I got involved in all this personal development journey, I was just a Sparky apprentice, working Monday to Friday, celebrating on the weekends, drinking, partying.
Yeah.
I was
No,
one of
that
the ones
feeling.
that got absolutely wasted, wouldn't remember the night. So it was just something I couldn't break. I was stuck in just like a loop. Like
Yeah.
most people for the rest of their life they just work for the weekends, which I don't think there's a point of doing that. I work every day now and I love it.
Hmm.
And people say, you can't love work once you do it every day, but I absolutely love it because when you have success with fulfillment, to me, that's just amazing.
Yeah,
Because as
it's
Tony Robbins says, the worst form of failure is actually success without fulfillment, like doing something you don't actually love, even if you're making money, because money is not everything.
Yeah, money's that surface
So,
area. I always say that, if you've got a pile of money sitting here, it doesn't mean shit, right? You need to have it
yeah,
for something. We make money so that we can put a roof over our head, have food on the table, have a luxury, have a holiday, whatever it is. And so if all you do is live for the money, then you're going to lose that passion pretty quickly. But if you know why you want to spend that money, then you're going to find that fulfillment, behind the passion behind it. Sorry. And then if you can find fulfillment in what you do, that's just the next level up. I think when you
yeah,
find something you love doing, it doesn't seem like work anymore. I was talking
no,
to, who was I talking to last week? I was talking to someone and I was saying to my wife, like, I love that I can go out the door, they're just there and play with my child. But I also love that once I'm done there, I'm looking forward to coming back in here and continuing the work that I'm doing. And to have that, it just makes life and work and the balance just so much easier. So I'm so stoked that you found something like that so young.
yeah, 100%, man. And like something I've heard once as well is, you know, money is just an amplifier. It just makes
Hmm.
things that you do more
Love that.
enjoyable and at a greater scale. And it's so true. That's all it is. It just amplifies what you have. So if you're upset before money, you're going to be even more upset. If you're a horrible person before money, you're still going to be a horrible person. Like, so really all it does is amplify who you are. So success is working on yourself and creating the life that you want. And all money does is amplify what you have.
Yeah, I love that quote. That hit me as well when I first heard it. I always say that the same thing. It just brings out, people say, oh, rich people are bad people or blah, 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 blah. No, a bad person with money is going to be a worse person, and a good person with money is going to be a great person. I mean, look at Keanu Reeves, for example. He's a really good example. He's a really nice person.
Yeah.
He's got lots of money. He gives. He's really humbled. He really does all the things he can do to be a nice person. It just depends on who you are. And as you said, it just amplifies all those traits you've got inside. So you got into network marketing, and very quickly you became the number one recruiter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That would have taken a bit of discipline. Now, did you have personal development and mindset stuff before you got into network marketing, or did that all come with the network marketing side?
It's an interesting one. So I only just got into personal development last year around January. I don't know what really changed. I just decided to look into it for once. And the one thing I realized is, the best way to be successful is look at someone that you look up to who is successful and just do what they do. And when I looked at what successful people do, they meditate, they read books. Like the average CEO reads 5 books a month. So I was like, okay, well, I hate reading, absolutely hate it. But if I want to be successful, I'm going to read books. I started with Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah,
and that changed my life. I learned so much about money and the way to look at it and building assets and liabilities and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, there's so much you can learn from books. And ever since then, I've read over 64 books. That's all new books. I've reread multiple books as well. I read an hour every day without a fail. Like that's just how I live, because I just find like there's just so much stuff you can learn from these books. These people are successful for a reason. And the reason why you don't see them advertised on let's say on TV and stuff is because people who are watching TV aren't reading books. It's simple as that. It's like why you don't see an ad for a Lambo on TV, because they know the people who are successful aren't watching TV. It's simple as that, but people don't get it. And I guess going through that journey, I saw network marketing, and one of my mentors told me is network marketing is personal development with a compensation plan. I'm like, that sounds bloody awesome. So as I grow and as I help other people grow, I get paid. Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, sounds like a amazing job to me.
Sign me up.
I just jumped in and started working on myself. I couldn't do anything like this, what I'm doing today. I hated public speaking. I would just, I'd be in, let's say at school, and they'll tell you to go speak in front of the class or whatever. I'd rather just break my leg than do that. But something I learned
thank you.
Something I learned from Mindset Mentor was like, our dreams die in our comfort zone, and I don't want my dreams to die. So, I started getting outside my comfort zone. Anything that I didn't feel comfortable doing, I started to learn to love. And that was the most powerful thing I've ever done in my life. So now I speak in front of stages, do keynotes and all that kind of stuff. I'm speaking next week at a crypto event. My first one. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait. Nice. And I have a goal of speaking in front of 10,000 to 100,000 people over my lifetime. So it's going to be awesome. And network marketing has changed my life in more ways than I could ever think. Like learning the skill of sales and persuasion and all that kind of stuff has just been incredible. And the people that you meet, like you just don't know who you're talking to. Like yesterday, I was talking to someone who has over close to 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I didn't even know. I just jumped on a call with him, and he's just really cool. He's developing, a Web3 game. He's got like the IP for Marvel, so he's got a pretty cool game, and it's just like, wow, I love this. I really love the fact that I'm talking to people that I wouldn't have the privilege of doing if I was an electrical apprentice, like I was back in 2022 and most of my life. So I'm very grateful for the life that I have. I practice 5 minutes of gratitude every single day to make sure, I put myself in that frequency before, I start my day, because I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's great. I've got a practice of doing the start of all of my mindset calls here. We do gratitude as well. I think gratitude morning and night can change your life. And I go through times where I do morning gratitude and nighttime gratitude, and I can really feel a difference. And then I sort of slip back a bit and I only do 3 or 4 kind of like days in a week. And it does, I can tell in myself, as you said, getting into that frequency in the morning and having that like real gratitude and real enjoyment for the little things. I think Andrew Huberman says that a good life is the finding joy in expanding amount of things, and an addictive and boring life is when you find joy only from a contracting and finite amount of things. Paraphrasing, definitely don't quote me on that one, but I really love that, because the more you find gratitude, the more you find things to be grateful for, the more you find the small things, and the more you can find happiness in everything that you have. And starting your day like that is powerful.
Yeah, 100%. It's honestly a life hack. If you can just be grateful for what you have, instead of what you don't have, like you will always be happy with your life. And yeah, no, like if you're happy with what you have, why you can never be upset. And also think about it, if you're ever upset and you're depressed or whatever it is, just understand that there's people with a lot worse than you have. Like most people don't have a fridge, most people don't have a house, some people don't have feet, some people just don't have clothes, some people just don't have a family that loves them and supports them. So like
Yeah.
really think about what you have every single day. Like just to me, when you really tap into that frequency and that mindset, you can always be happy, you can always get through tough times.
Definitely.
And one of my favorite quotes is, bro, and I absolutely love this. A lot of people, when they're in a dark place, they think they're getting buried, but they're actually getting planted. And I think that's just so beautiful. I absolutely
Wow.
love
Haven't
that.
heard that before. That's a good one. So when you're in a dark place, don't feel like you're getting buried. Feel like you're being planted, ready for
Yeah,
growth.
yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
I like it. I like it. So I'm just going to jot this one down. I
I'm
like
all
that one.
about quotes, bro.
Yeah, me too. I live by quotes. I have them everywhere. Looks like you and I want to share some same goals and attributes. I also want to speak in front of 10,000 plus people on a stage. I found my passion for public speaking, and this podcast in itself was a way to kind of kickstart that and get myself into that routine. So maybe one day we can share a stage. Wouldn't that be
Hell
nice?
yeah, bro. I'll make it happen.
Perfect. Let's do it. So
Yeah, there's a
go on.
I was going to say there's a possibility even next year I might be speaking at Optus Stadium.
Oh, lovely.
So that could be massive.
Yeah, maybe I'll be home and come see you.
Yeah, boy.
So let's talk about a bit of discipline. Okay, so you say you do gratitude every single day. You read your book 1 hour. That's just the way you live your life. I know you do cold
Yeah,
showers and cold plunges
yeah,
almost every day. You do meditation, journaling, all this
yeah.
stuff every day without fail, to a point
Hmm.
where you've given yourself a challenge. Which, how many days are you up to now? Tell me a bit about that.
For
200
my
plus
working
days.
out.
Does it work out as well? Is it all of it or just the workout?
Well, so the 221 days, that's when I made the commitment to start actually counting how many days I'm working out for.
Okay.
And I was on stage doing a keynote and I was like, okay, the best way to hold myself accountable is to just let everyone know that I'm going to make a commitment to work out every day for the rest of my life. And
Mhm.
that's serious. Like when I say something, I stick to it. I'm always a man of my word because if you can't trust yourself, why could anyone trust you? So
Yeah.
that's something that I've done. I don't know how many times I've, done cold showers and ice baths and meditated and all that kind of stuff. I haven't been counting that. But I have been counting my workouts and everything. So yeah, like honestly, man, like your morning routine, like having those little wins every single day is really just compounds over a long period of time. I'm not sure if you read the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
I
After I
listened
read
to it.
that book, my life changed completely. I just realized that small little habits over a long period of time create exponential growth. And I'm like literally the living example of that.
It's
I
awesome.
started back in January, it's only been 18 months. And the life that I've created for myself and people who have seen it, been inspired, has just been, it's amazing. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it really hasn't been a long venture. So did you have that willpower? Did you have that, I follow it through with what I say, that discipline before you got into network marketing? Or is that something that's grown along with your self development, do you think?
That's interesting. Well, I feel like I've always been a man of my word to some degree. And I
Hmm.
know I've been slack in the past, with gym, I wouldn't go every single day like I do now. But like, yeah, I mean, I've always been someone that people could trust. So that was always something I've always respected, and that's something I learned from my dad.
That's lovely.
Like if I said I'd be there, I'll be there.
Hmm.
I never just didn't show up or like, that kind of stuff. Like for work, always 10 minutes early. It's just something that I was taught as a young age. But the discipline, yeah, that just came from being a part of the company that I'm involved with and surrounding myself with like-minded people. Because in Perth, there's not many people like myself who are into personal development, are very disciplined, are into the crypto space and entrepreneur space. Well, I didn't have it back then, and I just needed that community that was online to interact with and have them believe in me for me to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And once I have the belief in myself, nothing could stop me.
Yeah, nice. I think that's very powerful, what you said just then. Once I had the belief in myself, nothing can stop me. I think with trading, especially from the groups and the people that I coach and talk to and help, so many of them want to get into trading because they know the benefits, but they don't believe that they can do it. And I'm like, that's where you have to start. Like, doesn't matter about strategy, doesn't matter about mindset, doesn't matter about anything else. If you don't believe you can do it, then you're not going to do it. One of my favorite quotes is, whether you truly believe you can or you truly believe you can't, you are
Classic.
correct. One of my favorite quotes. And it's really
I
the
love
start of it. The start of anything comes from that belief. And so, I love that you said, as soon as I truly believed in myself, you're unstoppable, right? And I always tell people, if you don't believe you can do this, why don't you believe you can do it? Let's figure that out, because everything else is just going to be proving your ego correct. If you're like, oh, I messed up this strategy, or I messed up this trade, I can't do this. Your ego is going to win that every single time because you don't believe it. So therefore, everything you do is going to be leading towards proving your ego right, which is a lose-lose situation, right? And so we need to shift
Yeah.
that belief. And for you to
Yeah.
say straight out the bat, I believed I could do it, and proof, 18 months later, here you are, just getting started, really. I mean, I think you've got big plans ahead, and things are growing very
Absolutely.
rapidly, right?
Yeah. I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with this discipline, you've got 221 days. Do you have is there a goal, or is this something like milestoning where you kind of go, I'm going to start with 50 days of discipline, then you get to 50 and you go, I'm going to go 100 days, and then you go, I'm going to go 200? Or do you have like an end goal in mind, or is it just,
Well, my goal with what I said is I'll work out every day for the rest of my life. So,
it's a lot of days?
maybe by the time I'm 70, it's like, a couple, thousands and thousands of days, which would be pretty cool. And the thing is why I do this, right, is one, I want to have my competition. I don't want any of that. Like, I want to be the best of the best.
Hmm.
Whether you like that or not, don't really care. I just like, I mean, I love to inspire people, but at the end of the day, I want to be the best, and I want to make myself not something that someone can just duplicate. Because the thing is, I don't know many people in my industry or my age who have given up alcohol for life like I have.
No.
I'm almost 12 months sober, which is
Wow.
just blows my mind because I used to drink all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who reads an hour every single day and works out every single day and does ice baths 5 times a week and all this kind of stuff. The reason why I did it is just like, well, if any of my competition try to catch up to me, good luck, because
Yeah.
they're not going to be able to duplicate what I have. So, yes, they might be a really good in network marketing, let's just say, but they don't have all the other attributes. They might not be healthy. They might be unfit. They might not have the education and knowledge I've learned from books. And eventually, from everything I've learned, I'll be able to just completely, overpass them. One of the mindset I had with the drinking was most people, are hungover at least, once a week, right?
Yep.
So if you add that up over 1 year, that's 52 days ahead of them I am now. And then over 10 years, it's 520 days. So
Wow.
now
That's a
those
good way to put
520
it.
days that I'm working, they're not. And I'm just like, well, good luck catching up to me because you have no chance. And because I'm also reading books and I'm, working out, I'm also more efficient and more faster and more energy, because energy is everything.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. So I don't really have an end goal. I just want to keep going the way I'm going and just be consistent, inspire people, because the amount of people that I've been inspired from just showing my stories of my working out, my ice baths, my reading, it rubs off on people. Eventually
It
they
does.
like, bro, I now read every day. I now work out every day. I now do all this kind of stuff. And I just want to say thank you. I'm like, awesome. Because one of the things that I always thought is like, I always tried to change people. But the thing is, like, if you want to see a change in the world, change yourself first and
Hmm.
be the change that you want to see in the world. And to me, that was just like, that makes so much sense. So if I want to see more motivated people and people who are disciplined and people who are reading, I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
And as I did that, I started creating that exact reality of people started reading, being more motivated, being more disciplined. And it
Hmm.
was like, wow, it's just all I needed to do. I didn't need to force anyone to do anything. I just needed to be who I wanted to see in the world and create that.
Yeah, it's crazy the way that happens. I think good leaders, good CEOs, all those kind of role models, they are there because they are changing themselves and kind of being a guide. Like, they're not telling people what to do, not changing people, not being like, hey, you should do this to be better. It's, this is how I got better. Come along for the ride if you want. And if you have an unstoppable amount of that energy to keep changing yourself and keep growing and have that aspiration, then you can change an unlimited amount of people, because there's always going to be someone who picks up at the level that you're at and comes along or finds the inspiration in that. And they might find inspiration just in your journaling, or they might find inspiration in your network marketing, but just one thing here and there. If you've got a repertoire of things that you're constantly growing and developing, there's going to be a bunch of people who can find light in that. Like, for me, I always say, create a mentor. Find someone, you said it earlier, find someone who's got what you have and just kind of follow exactly what they're doing. And I find mentors, I thought mentor was like, I need to pay someone, sit down with them and talk to them one-on-one, like once a week. And while that's good in a mentor, of course, it's not kind of what a mentor is to me now. Now I'm like, okay, for example, I have one guy that I met snowboarding in Canada, and now he's come back to Australia and he's gotten really fit and healthy just on his social media. And I follow him along because that's an inspiration for me. He's like a mentor to me in that area. And I, message him, and you're probably doing the same thing to a bunch of people who are like, oh, I've always wanted to read more. Oh, this guy's always reading. I got to get my book out. That kind of cue trigger. So they're on social media and they see your book. They're like, maybe I should put my phone down and get a book out instead. So
Yeah.
it's awesome that you've been able to find that, I'd say that aspiration, but that drive to be that leader. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why you've become, the top recruiter in your industry.
Yeah.
So congratulations, man.
Well, one of the things I've learned is like the most successful people, they just keep investing in themselves. They invest in their education, they invest in their health, they invest in their business, and that's really what makes you succeed. And one of my favorite quotes is, what you need to focus on is filling your mind, and your mind will fill your wallet. And I was just like, that makes so much sense. Is the more the more I learn, the more I'm going to earn.
Yeah.
And eventually, anything that I invest, I'm going to make back. And because if you think about the really only difference between someone who, let's just say in the real estate market, they go out there and they buy a property, right? Yes, they can get lucky and make a lot of money, but someone who's educated, has been doing it for a couple of years, goes into the property market, knows exactly what they're doing. They will absolutely kill it because they're educated. The more you know, the more you're going to grow, and the more you're going to earn as well. So to me, that's just the most powerful thing you can do is invest in yourself. And by doing that, most of my money goes into investing in myself, and obviously the results speak. And the really funny thing is, I went to Empire Mastery course a couple of months ago, which was like $7,000. Now, something that I realized is like, if you really think about it, if you have a business, right, and you don't really want to be in heaps of profit, like at the end of the day, when it comes to the financial, like the end of the financial year, like you want to have the less profit as possible so you don't have to pay as much tax. So all that money you should be investing into your business, investing into yourself, so that you don't have to pay. Let's just say you had $100,000, right, and you had to pay 25% tax. That 250K could go into investing in yourself instead of to the government. So I was just like, that makes so much sense now. Why why I don't actually have so much money in my bank, because I keep investing it in myself. And it made sense to me for once. It's like, okay, now I get it. Because I always thought, all these people who show off, they have like hundreds of grands and thousands of dollars in their bank. But the thing is, they got to pay tax on that. So really, you should be investing that in yourself. There's no point saving it. Just invest it. Obviously no financial advice here, guys. It's just this is the way I live my life and what I do. And some of the things I've learned that really have just opened my mind up to how I should handle my money and how I should invest it.
Yeah, it's like that asset accumulation. I mean, you want assets that produce more money. And so especially when you're first starting out, you just want to keep pumping that back in, like take the money that you're earning and make things, grow things, develop yourself. But I don't think people realize how much investing in yourself is probably like the best investment you can make. So many people go, oh, I can't spend money like that. They won't spend money on a gym membership to better themselves, but they will spend the same amount of money in one night out at dinner. And it's like, your investments need to be based around yourself. If you invest into yourself, mindset, health, all that kind of stuff, that's going to be the starting point for everything else to grow. And then you, as you said, take that, you don't need cash. It's like we were speaking before, cash in the corner of the room doesn't do anything. You need to know what you want to spend it on. And if you can buy more assets that produce more income, and then you can keep growing and expanding, that's how you get to that true wealth, in my opinion. That's how you get to that real financial 100%. Generational wealth, financial freedom.
And it's the only investment where if you invest in yourself, you can't fail.
Yeah.
Like you can't lose. Any other investment you can, there's always a chance of losing.
Yeah, there's always risk, but there's not much risk in investing in yourself. You pretty much always make gains on that. So with all the mindset and the growth and the discipline, what was one of the biggest challenges that you faced so far in the last, I'd say 18 months, because it's been such a short journey, but what was the biggest challenges?
Well, as you probably would experience, like as you grow and as you keep developing yourself and becoming this, role model, this inspiration to people, like everyone else is you're gonna get haters. You're gonna get people who put you down. But one of my favorite quotes I live by is hurt people hurt people. Yeah. And it's so true. People who are hurting are going to hurt you. So understand that anyone who does hate you, they're really just hurting, and you make it, because you're up here and they're down here, you make them feel pretty uncomfortable, and they want to bring you back down to their level, so they don't have to look at themselves and feel shit. Because that's the truth. Like that's really all it is. And I got a lot of that. I mean, I don't really, any of my friends that I had before I joined, in this personal development journey, yeah, they don't really talk to them. They're not my mates anymore because really they were holding me down and they weren't ready to grow with me. And I understand we become the product of our environment, the average of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. And I was just like, well, I'm going to start surrounding myself with people that I want to be like. So I started running like crypto meetups back in Perth where I had like 90 people attend every week. And I was surrounded by doctors and surgeons and lawyers and like really
Yeah.
successful people. And it was just really cool. And these people were like obviously a lot older than me, most of them 30, 40s, in the 50s. And I'm just young 21-year-old back then. So it was pretty awesome. And I guess the hardest part is just to understand that the people that you have around you, they're probably not gonna support you. They're probably gonna hate what you're doing, but believe in yourself, believe what you're doing is the right thing, and eventually, maybe they will turn around, which just has happened. A lot of people who gave me a lot of crap for what I was doing and told me crypto was a scam, and you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to be anything. Have gone, they've apologized and asked for my help, and a lot of them have joined my company and are now their mentor. So it's pretty
It's a
damn
nice
cool.
turnaround.
But that's the one thing you need to understand as you grow. A lot of people are not going to be happy with it.
Yeah, you really have to shed that old skin, don't you? And I know, like, being from Perth as well, that tall poppy syndrome in Australia
Yeah,
is pretty chronic. People do not like when people kind of branch out. And exactly as you said, I think I had the same thing. When people who grew up and have come from where you're from see you expanding and growing and realize that, hang on, they've got the exact same background from me, but they're making it, then I think the only person they've got left to blame is themselves, and they don't like that. So they start to pull you back down to be like, no, you can't,
that's
you
it.
can't be successful, because then I don't have an excuse. I can blame my
That's it.
environment here, but once someone from my area starts to take off, then I don't have an excuse anymore. So I know I'll release my anger and frustration out on that person and try and drag them back down to where I am. But I mean, you do
Yeah.
have the true friends who support you, but yeah, I think the inner circle and then the outer circle just is a lot of facade which tries to bring you down. And I had that, and I personally was really bad at handling it. I would get defensive and attack it, like
Reactive.
defend myself
Yeah.
so strong, and it wasn't for a while until I realized, hang on, this is just making it worse. Like, this is I'd say this is beyond me, like I don't need to spend my energy trying to defend myself to people I don't really give a shit about. Like, if you're there
Yeah.
attacking me and telling me that I'm useless and not going to do anything and that I'm all this negative stuff, why am I wasting more energy trying to prove to you that I'm not? Like, it was a nice realization for me that I went, actually, if I'm going to keep growing, I'm much beyond this. I've grown past this little bullshit comments and these little, and usually they feed the arguments, So if you just turn a
Mm.
blind eye, duck water off a duck's back, it kind of disappears into the ether and you move on. And
The one thing I learned is like through my journey I realized the most important things for me is protecting is my time and energy.
yeah,
And if someone's negative, I just don't bother, man. Like I literally, if they're gonna be negative, I give them one more chance, and if they do it again, I just block them on Facebook. Like I mean, my block is probably bigger than my friend list, bro. Like
really, I love that.
I'd say so, bro, because there's so many people back then who just really annoyed me, and I was just like you're just
Next.
negative. I don't need any of that. And really, what I've done by doing that is I just created people who really believe in me and support me,
Yeah,
and that has created a very strong community around me that has allowed me to do what I've done. Because I don't believe I'll be able to achieve what I have achieved without the community backing me and having my back and being supportive and being positive. If I had people who were just giving me crap the whole time, it would have been really difficult. So I
yeah.
always believe community is so important.
I'd say the same thing. I think community is a massive impact. And I think like the community that I built around this podcast and the mindset calls and stuff, that's one of the things that keeps me going in the hard times when I wake up and I'm feeling like shit and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Or like, oh, I haven't got something to talk about today because I've just been unfocused all weekend or something. And then I'm like, no, wait, there's people who are coming and showing up. Like, I can do this for them. If I can't do it for myself, at least I can do it for them, and finding that inner strength, which I think I need to shift that so I can find it for myself first. But, it's nice that during those hard motivated times, you've got that support and that those other people to kind of drag you up and be like, come on, we're going. Like, I don't care. Keep pushing. So
That's it, bro.
it's a nice environment to have. So you've got a lot of discipline in, and like a lot of things you do in the day, should we say, like in your routine, your morning routine, you've got like an hour of reading, an hour of exercise or whatever it is, journaling, gratitude, meditation,
Yeah.
Ice baths. What would you tell to people, or how would you kind of describe your time management? How do you, because I know for me, when I was doing work, I did engineering and I was doing the 9 to 5, and you'd go to work, you'd come home, and then you wouldn't have the energy or the time to do anything outside of that. You'd probably sit in front of the TV, cook dinner, go to bed, whatever. How do you find that time management and energy, but the time management to get all those things done in a day, every single day? That must take up a large portion of your time.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear, like, I didn't do this when I was doing my apprenticeship, so it would have been a lot harder back then. But
Mm-hmm.
now with the entrepreneur lifestyle that I live, I have time for him to do what I want. But the thing is, like, a lot of people think being an entrepreneur is easy. Look, it is easy, but it's also hard because you can do what you want when you want, which means if I really wanted to, I could just go to sleep and not do anything. But you have to
Yeah.
be disciplined enough to actually wake up and do the work. No one's there motivating you to do it. You have to find that within yourself. So a lot of people aren't really built to do, be entrepreneur, and that's okay. But the thing is, I realize how important it is having those compounded wins in the morning. Because when if you woke up right and you didn't wake up on your first alarm and you were just very in rush and you didn't brush your teeth or you didn't have breakfast, and then you're stuck in traffic, like you've had all these losses, you're just gonna have a crap day at work, right? But if you woke up on your alarm, had time to meditate, do some journaling, have breakfast, and then you could have that 10 minute, just before you get to work, then you would feel no matter what happened through that day, you've already had all those wins, that you're in this really great mindset. That
Mm-hmm.
back in the old days, if you didn't have those wins, like you would be reactive, you would be upset, you'd be angry. But by creating that mindset over a long period of time, you be honestly become more grateful and happy for what you have, and you don't react. And I guess for me, with finding the time, I realized that I need to remove as much dopamine as I could. A lot of people are addicted to their phones. Like I was one of those people where you got a message, you had to look at it,
Yeah.
every single time.
Still.
One of the things I definitely never did was, like, when I'm driving, look at my phone. Just never do that. Just it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I was really struggled with, is just the fact that I got a message and I had to look. So what I realized is I'm just gonna not touch my phone, in terms of I'm not going to consume anything. I can put things on my story to show to people that I'm doing something, but I can't go on YouTube or videos or consume anything or message people or check my messages for the first about 4.5 hours of the day.
Wow.
So which is really powerful, because you kind of, like, once you finish all your morning routine, you get that massive dopamine release of, like, now I can go on my phone and I can go all these messages. But it's not easy. Like it's taken time, and it's really powerful because I wake up, right? I wake up at 6 a.m. every single day. It's really important that you go to sleep and wake up at the same time for your cardinal rhythm, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Just so your body knows, and
Mm-hmm.
it actually allows you to have more energy. So pretty much I wake up at 6 a.m. I do 5 minutes of gratitude, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of visualization. Then I do my morning mantra, morning journal, have a green super drink. Then I head to the gym, do a 3 minute ice bath, go to the gym for about 90 minutes, listen to a podcast that whole time. So I'm getting a podcast and workout at the same time.
Yeah.
After I finish that, do a 15-minute sauna, get home. I will then have my protein shake, and then I will obviously have a shower. And then I'll do an hour of reading. After the hour of reading, what I'll do is also I'll send birthday messages, just because you don't know who needs it. So I'll go on Facebook and send all my birthday messages to people. And
Nice.
once I'm done with that, I'm pretty much. Oh, actually, on the way to gym, I also do affirmations, because it's really good to speak positive to yourself and really just to create that positive mindset. So with all that, I'm pretty much done within 4.5 hours, because I'm not distracted by my phone. Like, you'd be amazed of how much you can get done without when you're not distracted on your phone and
Yeah.
stuff, because it is actually such a big distraction. A lot of people find themselves scrolling through TikTok and going, like, "What am I doing?" Like, people didn't even know they're doing it. They go for a whole half an hour and then they forget what they're doing. It's just like, oh my god! Like, I was one of those people, and I
Me
realized this.
too.
I just put my phone away, put on do not disturb, and only look at it when I need to. Like, if I need to create, let's say if I need to work, right, I do something called the Pomodoro technique, which is where you do 25 minutes on and 5 minutes off. That 25 minutes on, you actually you're downloading the information, and at 5 minutes off, you're installing it. So, like a
Okay.
computer. but when you're installing it, actually goes through your mind a lot faster, so you retain the information pretty well as well. And that's the reason why when I read books, it's taken a time, but I've actually do 30 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 30 minutes on, and through that 5 minutes, all I do is visualize, what I want. So maybe I want to like live somewhere, maybe I want a partner, maybe I want these goals I want to achieve, and that's what I use that 5 minutes for, and then I go back into reading.
It's
And
awesome.
that's just been really, really powerful. So I understand that time is one of the most valuable assets, and I make sure that I use it very wisely. Because the thing is, guys, one thing that when I wake up every day is I remind myself, and I thank the universe or the high intelligence, whatever you want to call it, God, that, thank you for giving me my second chance in life to pursue my purpose and passion. Because it's really true. Every day you don't know if you're going to wake up. And the fact that you do, that's your second chance to go after your goals, go after your dreams. So I make sure I thank the universe every single day for that. And it really makes you realize that, you are lucky to be alive right now, because a lot of people aren't waking up. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
crazy.
really powerful.
It's a bit of an eye opener. It's true. People, not everyone wakes up. I mean, my granddad, bless his soul, he went to sleep, didn't wake up, and I'm sure there's people, hundreds of people doing that, thousands of people doing that every single day
Yeah.
of the year all around the world. So, yeah, it really is a blessing, and it's good to bring awareness to that. What was that thing called? 25 on, 5 minutes off. What was the name of that?
Called the Pomodoro technique.
Pomodoro technique. I haven't heard of that one either.
Pomodoro technique. It's yeah.
I'll be looking that one up. I like that because I often find that when I'm listening to a podcast, I kind of do the same thing. I exercise and listen to podcasts, but I often find in the last 15 minutes, my brain starts to wander. I'm like visualizing or trying to think about other things. And then I'm listening to a podcast and I'm like, man, hang on. Like, I also don't have set time to be doing that. So I feel like if I had the set time, then I'd be like, I can focus for a bit and then maybe, 5 minutes, just give myself that visualization time and then come back. So that's a pretty cool one. I haven't heard of that. I'm gonna look into that. Thanks for bringing something new. Great.
That's so good.
I love finding new little nuggets like that. So on this 18 months, did you have that holy shit moment? Was there a moment where you were like, wow, I can't believe this is really happening. I've made it? Or is it still just like a process that's continuing to grow?
Honestly, I'm pretty bad. Like, I kind of just never settle. I kind of just keep going. I'm not really great at rewarding myself, which is something I'm trying to get better at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I do my reflection. I do look back at my life and go, oh my God, like, whoa, I achieved a lot. Like when I did my reflection last year of all the things I achieved, I was just like, whoa, what the hell? Like, it really just blew my mind. But I definitely, yeah, I never really get comfortable. I just keep moving and keep moving forward, because I read that book, Winning by Tim Grover, and winning doesn't settle for anyone. Like if you stop and you slow down or anything, like winning's just gonna get the next person who wants it. And
Right.
I have the winning mindset, bro. I just keep trying. I keep trying to be uncommon amongst the common. And
Mm-hmm.
I won't stop until I win. I won't stop until I'm finished.
Well, do you have a win? You say you won't stop till you win? What's your winning? Do you have a finish line, or is it just the?
I don't even know, bro. Like, um, yeah, I don't even know. I love what I do, so I guess when I don't love what I do, somehow, like,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever happen. But like, money is not really something I really care about. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'll be a billionaire within a couple of years, which is exciting. But like, I'm not really focused on that. I'm more focused on, leaving a legacy for myself, because my why in life is to be remembered. Like, I don't want to
Okay.
die and no one know who I am, and I want my future generation to know I'm the reason why they don't struggle about money, and why they can do something that they love, and they have the knowledge that they have to build businesses. So that's something that I live by, and it's good to know whenever things get tough, like the reason why I'm doing this is I want to be remembered. And
Yeah.
it's really powerful.
I was about to ask, like, literally, my next question is, do you have your why? Like, what is your traditional why? Do you know what your original reason was? Because I think the why is, extremely powerful. I say to people all the time, know your why. I think we're talking about it just before. Know your why, because that's what's going to help you during the hard times. That's what's going to help you when shit gets tough and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I'm doing this anymore. And then you're like, wait, no, would future Bayley, who wants to be remembered, be able to sit there and go, I don't know if I want to do this anymore? No, he won't. Get up and keep fucking working, right? So it's
Bro.
powerful. And of course, it makes sense that you've got your why, and that's what keeps driving you. But
Yeah.
was that the original reason, would you
No, I
say?
was going to tell you
Yeah.
that. I was going to tell
Yeah.
you. So my why for a very long time, and because I didn't really know what it was, I thought my why was I want to retire my parents.
Hmm.
But if you really think about it, a why never goes away. So if once you retire your parents, you can't just be the same why anymore. So
Okay.
what I realized is I did something called 7 layers deep, and it's where you
Deep
get your why that you
investigation.
believe it is, and you write why. And what happens at first, you're thinking with your brain, but by the end of it, you're thinking with your heart. And that's when you go,
Hmm.
oh, that's what my why is. And that was when I realized I want to be remembered. Because yes, retiring my parents is great, but why do I want to do that? It's because I want to be remembered. I want to be one of those people in the generations who, actually changed the family tree, who was the one that did everything, who changed the way that everything was supposed to be. And I think that's just, yeah, it's really powerful once you know what your real why is in life.
Yeah, that is. I actually do the 7 levels deep exercise as well. I love that. There's a few episodes way back at the start of this where I did it with three people who were on the calls regularly. But what I like about this is because my why was to retire my mum. But I like how you said your why can never change because for a long time I've even got on my vision board right here my mum's face and retired on top of her.
Oh, wow.
But as you say, your why, because after that, I was like, well, what's when she's retired? What do I do after that? This is kind of playing, and this is kind of where I guess my question was at the start, which may have been a bit loaded if you had the win, because Simon Sinek, he talks a lot about the difference between a finite game and an infinite game. And a finite game, like you're just playing to win, whereas an infinite game, you fall in love with the process and you can play over and over and over again until forever. Um,
Yes.
and the idea of retiring my mum, that's a finite game. My goal is to retire her. Once she's retired, game over. But what's an infinite game? What's the one that I can continue to play? And I think Alex Hormozi talks about this, and he says, you know, you should have something that outlasts you. If you want to create something great, it should outlast you. And
That's it.
yeah, that's kind of what triggered me to have a look and rethink my why. And although retiring my mum is a goal that I have, it's now no longer my why. And I really like what you said there. You know, the why should never end because otherwise the game's over. You stop playing it.
Yeah, the
You've reached a
humans,
goal.
yeah.
It stops. So it's really interesting that you've had that, and it kind of just got me thinking. I was like, yeah, that's a really good thing to not have a why that doesn't end. If it just keeps going,
Yeah.
that's the goal. That's awesome. So often I find there's two types of people, and I ask this question to everyone because I get confused between which kind of person I am. And I feel, and I could be wrong on this, but I feel there's pressure driven people who get under pressure and they just like they perform and they just go. And then there's people who crack under pressure. And so when it gets too much, like they kind of implode and everything gets overwhelming. Do you find you're either of those people?
It's interesting. I feel like in some certain situations, like when everything's just chaotic, like I definitely am not someone who's controlled. I'm probably better now than I was, but I haven't really had a situation like that in a while. But when in terms of business and like if something's happening in the business and everything is going crazy, like I handle that really well. Like I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna outperform everyone. Like last month, like some big players in the company left. And a lot of people and a lot of leaders couldn't react to it, kind of like were a bit quiet for the month. I just had the best month of my life, and that's because I just wanted to show, no matter how hard it is and all the excuses that most people have, I just wanted to be the reason why most people give up. I'm the reason why I kept going. Like, when you feel that giving up, understand that's where most people give up. So be the person who doesn't give up and keep going, and you'll remember that situation and be able to keep pushing on and inspire more people to do the same. So like now when they look back on that month, when anyone has an excuse, when next time something similar happens, or we're going through a really tough time, like myself personally or the business, they can look back and go, look, Bayley did this when it was this, all this was happening. What's your excuse? Or
Yeah.
when I'm going through a tough time again, all this was happening. What's your excuse? And it allows me to now, have no excuses and just perform. And one of my favorite quotes is, your responsibilities don't, your what do you call it? Your responsibilities don't change. No, yeah, that's it. Sorry, your circumstances don't change your responsibilities.
Okay.
Is one of my favorites because no matter what happens, no matter how you feel, your responsibility and you've got to act on it. So sorry about that. I honestly just couldn't remember what it was called.
I have that sometimes as well. It's like, what's this quote again? But even when they're like your favorites. So your circumstances don't change your responsibility. I haven't heard that one before. Again, another quote. Love it because it's
I
true.
told you I'm all about quotes, bro.
Yeah, yeah, you are. It's great. But it's so true because I think that I don't know about you, but I found it really hard to really take off with my entrepreneurship while traveling because I had no routine and I had no sustainability, and like there was no rhythm to what I was doing, and I always had an excuse because my circumstances were always changing, and so therefore, my responsibilities would change. But really, I think it was my priorities were changing. I would go to a different place, or I'd go to a different thing, or something else would come up, or I'd meet new people, or I'd want to do this instead. So my responsibilities were still there, but my priorities were changing because my circumstances were changing.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the key things that I realized as, if I want to keep traveling, I love travel. I'm always going to be a traveler. But, now creating a family, it's a bit more stable. We
Mhm.
can't bounce around so much. But that kind of opened my eyes. Like, it's not so much the traveling that's stopping me, is my priorities. Like when I travel, it's because I wanted to see a new place and do this, and I wasn't focused on my goals or my business. But once I sort of understood that, and my mindset shifted, and I saw a different perspective, I was like, wait, the responsibilities don't change at all. It's the perspective, it's the priorities that I keep changing. And if I can stick
Yeah.
to the right priorities, then hopefully, not hopefully, bad use of words. If I can stick to the right priorities, then success will come. I'm trying to
I
catch
love it.
myself on my verbiage.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. And like that's just like your non-negotiables. They
Yeah,
are non-negotiables. There is no excuse why you can't do it. Like I'm so disciplined to the point where, bro, if it's 11 o'clock when I'm supposed to be going to bed and I haven't done an hour of reading just happens. That's what I have to do.
I really
And
want
that
to. I'd
sucks,
love to get
man.
to that
It
level of
really
discipline.
sucks.
Yeah, yeah, I
It,
can imagine.
I really hate myself sometimes. And then sometimes I forget to have a cold shower for that day. And it's like almost bedtime and I want to go to bed. And I do not want to go in a bloody shower. And it's freezing in Perth. And I got to do it because that's what I'm all about. I'm a man of my word. And the thing is, no matter what I say, like because I've built that discipline and I know now whatever I say I do, even if it's a crazy goal like being a billionaire, I believe it because I know what I say happens.
Hmm.
So learning to really stick to your word and being a man of your word, or being a person of your word, because obviously there's females that listen to this,
Yeah.
like that is so powerful, and a lot of people just don't understand.
Yeah, it really is. I think that's the one thing I'm trying to grow in myself because if you can have that level of discipline, you can achieve anything, really.
That's
And
it.
I mean, to be able to get up, like what goes through your head? Okay. So for someone with that kind of discipline, which I really love, what goes through your head when you're sitting there and you're just like, it's middle of the night, ice cold showers on the cards, and it's just like, fuck this. I do not want to do it, but I'm still going to. How do you like what do you say to yourself? Do you have a mantra? Do you think about something in particular? Is there something that goes through your head that goes, okay, if I don't do this, then I'm going to.
Yeah, so I kind of just look at my life like it's a movie. Like everyone's always watching, whether
Hmm.
anyone is watching or not. I don't care. Like I look at it as a movie that people are watching, and it's 5 stars. So like, you're watching this movie, and this guy is just sitting on his bed, and he's just watching Netflix and being lazy. Everyone would turn that off. But then you go, you put it on, and there's a guy who's going to the gym. He's doing cold showers, meditating, reading, working out, like doing all these awesome stuff. Like you would watch that. But
Yeah.
if there's someone who's just like I said, being lazy, what's the point? So whenever I go to, I shouldn't do it, but it's like I need to do it because I know myself that I'm not doing it, and I know people are watching. So leaders lead, bro. So I need to set myself as an example and just really stick to what I say. Because if
Yeah.
I was to not do that hour of reading, well, then now I'm not a man of my word, right?
Hmm.
So I need to really believe in what I say and stick to it. And there's no excuses. I don't care how tired I am, because again, the circumstances don't change your responsibilities.
Yeah. Lead when people aren't watching. I like that.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's a crazy aspect, I think, and it might be a bit of a slippery slope. But when you give yourself permission to not listen to yourself once or for one thing, then it's just like, well, I didn't do that. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. And I find that it's a very steep spiral. And for me, anyway, it's like I can be super disciplined and do everything. But then as soon as I say no to one thing or I let go of that for a bit, it just like it just flops and
Yeah.
everything. It's like you make that excuse for every part aspect of it once you do it for one
Yeah.
thing. And I think on the contrary, when you've got such a strict discipline routine and you know that letting it slip for one thing could let it slip for others, then it kind of becomes a bit easier because like I don't want this all to fall apart, so I'm just going to deal with a 3 minute shower. Like my life's fucking
Yeah.
amazing right now. Who cares if I have to get up and have a cold shower right now?
Yeah, one of my favorite things is what Darren Hardy teaches, and it's to say, for example, you've got like a it's got the snowball effect, right? If you have
Mhm.
this snowball and you roll it down a hill, at first you could probably stop that motivation that you have or that discipline that you have, but eventually, while it gets to the bottom of that hill, that ball is so big that it becomes easier to keep letting it go than stop it.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do with your discipline
Oh
and your
wow.
habits.
I never
And
thought of
that's
it
what I
like
do.
that. That's a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool because I've heard the snowball effect, but that the point of no return, or that point where it becomes easier to let it go than to stop it. I've never thought
yeah.
about that. And that really does
Habits.
shift the perspective because I often will go super disciplined, like everything will be great for I can do 6 months, 100 days, whatever. But then I find that I break that and it goes downhill really quickly. And then it's hard to jump back on the horse. And just hearing that, what you said there, it gets to a point where it's hard, it's easier to let it go than to stop the snowball. Finding that point and getting in well before that is going to be paramount to my ongoing success. So that's a
Yeah.
mind shifter for me for that. So thanks for
Awesome.
that. So
Awesome.
I'm going to fire some shorter questions at you, like kind of short answer questions after this next question. And then we kind of wrap up with two final questions. But before we get into that, how do you, or have you dealt with like self-sabotage, negative self-talk, like the struggle within your own mind, kind of going, oh, maybe I can't make this, maybe it's not real,
Mhm.
or do you not have that
Yeah.
anymore?
Well, honestly, everyone still somewhat doubts themselves somewhat, but I've
Mhm.
I've done a lot of work in with myself, and I really don't have many things holding me back anymore. And I went and did a breath work session on Saturday, and
Nice.
just to see if I had any, self-limiting beliefs or trauma that was holding me back that I didn't know of. And to my surprise, I had nothing. There was nothing I needed to work through. So it was really liberating to know that I literally have nothing holding me back from where I want to
Mhm.
go and what I want to achieve. Now I would say that's because of all the work I've done, but also the life that I've lived. I've been very lucky with my parents and family, and my upbringing. I haven't had that much of a hard life. So I'm very lucky for that, which is also kind of annoying in some sense because I can't ever have empathy for people because I've never experienced what they've experienced. Like my
Yeah.
life has been pretty great, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Kind of a
yeah,
backhanded way to, it's like, I've had such a good life, but now it's hard because I can't feel sorry for other or have that empathy for other people. So really, but I mean, the thing is, I think you're aware of this. The major thing is you're aware that other people have had it much worse and that you're aware of your
yeah,
situation and how lucky it is. And that comes back to gratitude. And so therefore that brings that humbleness into it and that, you know, understanding that you have had it easier than a lot of people. And I'm saying a lot of people, I don't know your entire background, but I know
yeah,
that after traveling the world, about 90% of people who live in Perth have had it pretty easy in
yeah,
comparison.
probably.
It's a pretty good place to grow up. Not everyone, of course, there's always tragedy and stuff like
Yeah,
that. I don't want to
yeah,
categorize everyone, but just understanding and acknowledging that, I think, that shows the gratitude that you've been practicing every day. So it's good
yeah,
that you've managed to find your way. There's not much self-sabotage and negative self-talk because I think once you get to a point, as you said, it's very liberating and freeing. And
yeah,
I know one of the biggest issues that I deal with people talking to people and coaching and stuff on the charts is that self-sabotage and trying to find a way to get out of that. And so
yeah.
I think it's just one of those battle of the trenches, but knowing that there's the light on the other end of the tunnel, that when you do get out of that and you can find your way through your own past demons and whatever it is, that it does become that very freeing and liberating, which gives you even more drive and reason to kind of push to that point.
That's it, bro. That's it.
Right, I'm going to fire some of these questions at you. They're just kind of
Sure.
shorter answers. What is the
Yeah.
hardest thing for you to overcome as a network marketer?
It was rejection. It was
Yeah.
people, calling network marketing a pyramid scheme and all that kind of stuff, all because they weren't educated. But like anything, when you're not educated, you don't really know anything. You just go off other people's opinions and what they think. And yeah, I found that was pretty difficult at the start.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same thing, and I think lots of people in network marketing have it to the point where it breaks them, and they can't keep pushing on. I know that's what lots
Yeah.
of people. Well, I experienced that anyway. What was the one thing you wish you were told or knew when you first started? One lesson you know now.
Um, I wish I knew that. Yeah, you're going to you're going to upset a lot of people, and it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Like, I guess, yeah, I just wish I knew that it was going to take a lot of discipline and it was going to take a lot of consistency and really just getting outside your comfort zone and the reason why is because if I knew that, I would have done it sooner. I
Yeah.
really was scared of getting outside my comfort zone, because it was scary. It was like, I don't want to do public speaking. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to jump on calls like this. Like
Yeah.
every time someone called me, I'm like, yep, I hang up on that. I didn't want to do
Nope.
that. I just text people. So I wanted this year to really get outside my comfort zone. So I just started presenting. I started doing more things, going live on Facebook, stuff like that. And so yeah, I'd say that just really understanding that your dreams really do die in your comfort zone. So if you really want to achieve something, you need to do what makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think it's a powerful thing for any aspect. You only grow when you start to feel that uncomfortableness. I don't think that's a word, but you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah, I do.
What is one big lesson you wish you could just implant into those new network marketers or people in trading, I guess, but you're more network marketing side now, so
Um, just don't give up. Just
yeah.
keep going because it isn't going to be easy. But like I said at the start, it's worth it. You are going to get a lot of rejections, but the more rejections you get, the more close you are to that yes.
Hmm.
And really, it's all a numbers game. Like you really just need to keep messaging people, keep being consistent on social media, um, building your brand because not just you're going to help you build your business through building your brand and building your social media presence, but you're also going to create other opportunities in your life. And really exciting opportunities that you wouldn't even know. Like some
Yeah.
people you jump on a call with and they're this like multi millionaires. Like I didn't even know that this person was that. And now that even if something ever happened with, the company you're with or something, you've got those connections because your network is your net worth. So I realize how important our network is. And the only way by doing that is to talk to people. Like you need to just keep messaging people, being consistent on social media. Like I said, getting outside your comfort zone is so important. So all I would say is understand that if you message 10 or 100 people and they all say no, just don't stop, just keep going.
Yeah.
Because eventually you will learn what works and what doesn't, and you just have to find that one person. There could be that one person who puts in 1,000, 10,000 people, but you need to find that person, and you're not going to find that person by not messaging people and being scared. So
Yeah.
that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you find that it all came pretty quick? This is off this, but did you find that it was like struggle, 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 and then it started to happen and it just kind of snowballed forward for you? Or was it just
Yeah.
a slow grind?
Yeah, so I did struggle for a bit and I just kept being consistent, not listening to anyone or the haters and stuff. And eventually once I, started getting those sign-ups, starting getting that momentum,
Hmm.
momentum is a powerful thing. Once you have that on your side and discipline and consistency, like there is nothing that can stop you. Like I don't know what it is, the universe, whatever. It just realized that, you've done the work and it rewards you. And one thing I would, what I want to talk about is you get rewarded for what you do now 90 days in advance. So you won't get paid until 90 days from now. So right now you might be doing all this hard work and not getting the results, and that's because you won't get into 90 days. So understand that. That's why right now you might be like, well, I'm doing all this and nothing's happening. Trust me, just keep doing it, and 90 days you'll be rewarded. So that's
Yeah,
something that
nice.
it was really powerful to me and it made sense. I'm like, oh, now I get it.
And I think the key to that also is when you get rewarded, don't stop there because then you'll
Don't
have to wait
stop.
another 90
Don't give up.
days. Because when if you stop there, then in 90 days you'll stop getting paid and you'll be like, what the
Yeah,
hell's going on? Because I've started working
that's
again.
it.
So
That's
it's
it.
yeah, that's a nice tip. Okay, what is one of the biggest life lessons you've gotten from network marketing? I'm sure there's a lot in network
Um,
marketing, but
there's a lot of lessons, bro. I'm just trying
yeah.
to think some life lessons. Um, yeah, just for me would be just don't give in to what people will say about you. Like really just keep if you love what you do and you really believe that what you're doing is changing lives and is making an impact and has value to people's lives, don't care what other people say. Like it really doesn't matter. Like what matters is what you believe of what you're doing, what you're selling, your product, your service, who you are as a person. That's all that matters. Nothing else does. Because really what they're saying is how they feel inside and what they
Hmm.
see of themselves. So don't take it personally. And that's something I took a long time because, like I said, with haters, they were everywhere. They were telling me all this stuff, and I realize now weren't happy because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And it's just been really powerful to come to that conclusion that if I believe in myself and I understand that everything I believe myself doesn't let anyone else have a impact on me, and I'm not reactive, and I just believe in what I'm doing and what I'm selling and the product and the company I'm with, then there's nothing that can stop me. Because what people don't get is people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So if they
Mm-mm.
understand why you're doing it and you're showing that why you're doing it, like people are going to come to you like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And that's not like properly, it's not like, financially buying stuff, but it's also like buying into you as a person as well.
Yeah, it's true. If they can see your growth and why you're doing something, then they can get behind that. But everyone does. Lots of people do what you do, but not many people do it for the same reasons you do, and then people are going to fall in love
Yeah.
with the reason you're doing it rather than what you're actually doing. That's nice. Okay, so now that you've hit those 5-figure months at such a young age, what's next? Where does your mind head after that? I think you've said it a couple of times on this that you're going to be a billionaire anyway. But
Oh, yeah.
what's your
Yeah.
next level?
Well, my next level, I set a goal is 20 grand a month by December,
Hmm.
which I've wrote in my journal. Because for me to hit my 5 figures last month, I wrote that in my journal for 6 months straight. I said June 2023, we'll hit over 10 grand. And then I did it. I was like, oh my God, this stuff really does work. Like I
Nice,
said, belief
nice.
is so important, and affirmations and all that. But my goal by 27, so you guys can hold me accountable, is to be retired and making at least 100K a month. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, whenever I say something, it happens. So you'll see.
Nice. I'll be here watching. I'll be here growing with you.
Awesome, bro. Cannot wait.
All right. So, what would be one thing that you could go back and tell your 17-year-old self before you entered
Shit.
the real world?
um, that you don't need to work for money, because if you keep working for money, as you can see, people around you, your family, your friends, they don't have the life that you want, and they don't have the time that you would want in the future. Like if you want to travel and you want to have the freedom to spend all those those beautiful moments with your family and those special moments with friends and all that kind of stuff, you can't do that if you're always working for money.
Yeah.
So what I would say is like really look out and see people who have the life that you want, learn what they did, and also read books. Like goddamn, just read books. Stop being so egotistical and read books, because they are absolutely life changing. And I hated books, hated them. I remember when like at school they would tell me to read books, and I'll just watch the movie. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to read a book. And what I realized is I didn't hate reading books. I hated what they were telling me to read. And
Hmm.
once I read something I'd actually enjoyed and got value from and could learn to make money from and change my life, I was like, books are incredible. So that's the advice that I would give my 17-year-old self,
Yeah.
is to find a way for money to work for you and read books.
I love that. I was the exact same. I was the exact same. We probably even had similar books because, same kind of schooling system. And I think by the time I was in my 20s, I'd read Free Willy, and it took me about almost a year. And my grandma read Harry Potter 1 to me. And that was it. That was my whole book knowledge. And my mum was always like, Jake, you should find a book you should read. And I was like, no, mum, reading sucks. I want to go play sport or surf or something like that. And that's because I didn't like the books that was being offered to me, exactly as you said. Then when I was in my
Yeah.
20s, I think actually I was in Mexico, so it would have been 25 or 26. And then I think the first book I read was The Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. And I was like, oh,
I haven't
I can
even
read.
read that.
Yeah, Millionaire Success Habits. I think I've got it up here somewhere. But yeah, it's a good book. Dean Graziosi, he's actually where I learned the 7 levels deep exercise from.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so that's where it first came from. And since then, I was like, I love this. Like I can get someone's brain and like ingest it bit by bit as I can when I want to. And since then, I've just taken off with books as well. That and I think I was unsure. And then the next book I read was by Zig Ziglar. Um,
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly which one it was, but that was the second book I read. And then I was like, yeah, no, I like this, and I kind of took off. And I was the same as you, man, just egotistical. Like, no, I wish I
Yeah.
had 10 years earlier. I wish I had been able to get rid of that ego.
Yeah, the one thing I just want to just add to this is there's something I did a lot, and I feel like a lot of people on here who are entrepreneurs and do read books probably do this, is you probably just read books, right? You probably just read books for the sake of it to feed your ego. It's like, oh, I read 50 books last year, blah, blah, blah. I was one of those people. But what I realized is there's no point reading books unless you're going to retain the information. So now don't look at reading books, look at studying books. Get
Hmm.
that book and read that and like study that book, take like highlight words and take notes and really remember what you just read, because there's no point reading a book if you're just going to read it and go to the next one. So that's something that I realized I had to do, and now it's something that I do, and it's just changed everything. And now remember it all. And if you want to retain the information, go learn it and then go teach it, because that's how you're
Yeah.
going to retain it a lot better.
Well, I mean, that's kind of one of the things from where this podcast came about, because like all my books have got highlighters and pens and scribble in them. And I think it's
Yes, I
Bob
love that.
Proctor says that he never
Yes.
finished reading Napoleon Hill, and he was studying it like 50 years or something like that. But Think and Grow
Yeah.
Rich. But yeah, I've got all these like bits and pieces, but I was like, I want a way to express this and talk about it. And for me, I take in information and then I jump on a podcast and I express and talk about all the things that I've learned, and that just like burns it into my brain so much stronger. So I 100% agree with you there. Like, study the books, don't just, especially if you're in the kind of the genre that we're in, self-help,
Yeah.
learning, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. If it's a fictional thing, that's a bit different, but definitely
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. I totally agree with you there. Right, last question, Bayley. This one kind of stumps a few people, so we'll see what you've got. But if you could have the answer to any question in the world, the complete truth about any question, what would that question be?
Oh God, that is a hard one. If I could have the answer to any question, okay. Oh, that is really difficult, eh?
Yeah, it really
That
gets you
is really
thinking.
difficult. If I could have the answer to any question, would be. I guess I would like to know this. Like, this is more of a personal thing. Like,
Mhm.
what really like started the universe? Like, what really created it?
Oh,
Like,
nice.
I think that'd be pretty cool to know
Yep.
because yeah, no one really knows. And I think it'd be a pretty awesome to know exactly how it was all created, because I think it'd blow people's minds if we really knew.
I agree. It's funny you went into intergalactic, because my answer to this question is what's on the other side of a black hole. So I really want to know. Like, it blows my mind. Like, often I'll lay awake thinking and trying to, like, what could be this? It could be this, and then I go off with imagination. So it's funny that you went into that intergalactic, Big Bang or whatever it was at the beginning kind of scene. So I love it. All right, Bailey. Well, honestly, this has been great. I'm still so impressed by you. I follow your stories, and you inspire me daily by all the stuff you post. So keep doing exactly what you're doing. I'm sure you will, and I'm sure you're going to crush it. But where are some places that people can get you? Give us some ways that people can get a hold of you. Things coming up for you. Maybe if they want to get into
Yeah.
crypto, anything like that. What do you got for us?
Yeah, no problem. So, you can find me on Facebook, Bayley Powell, and that's Bayley, and then Powell, Powell. That's where most of my following is, my community. I'm very consistent, going live on there all the time, sharing my knowledge. Like, I post probably twice a day. Also Instagram at Achieve Freedom 99. And if you want to learn about crypto and learn how to read the financial markets and get involved in network marketing or any kind of stuff like that, just send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. I'm part of a company called MTC Education. We just teach you how to read the financial markets so you can fire your boss and live life on your terms and improve your mindset and do some incredible stuff. So yeah, it's really, really awesome. And yeah, I look forward to speaking with you guys on there, and I appreciate having me on this podcast, brother. It's been incredible, and I love the energy that you give off, and it'd be awesome to meet you.
Thanks, man. Well, we definitely will, and I'll be back in Perth. Well, this Christmas I'll be back in Perth. So if you're around then, we'll catch up and go for maybe an ice bath or something like that. I didn't realize there
Oh
were so
yeah, let's
many
do it.
good places around Perth. But yeah, I will chuck all your stuff in the description of this podcast. You can find that on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, all that sort of stuff. So there'll be links in the description to your pages that you want people to get you on, so you can go and hit Bayley up, and if not, just follow him, because he's young inspiration and he's going to be going places. And I think this is a place where you want to catch on to him and follow his story, because, as you said, billionaire talking in front of hundreds of thousands of people on stage, right next to this guy right here. All right,
All right, let's
I'm looking
do it.
forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be sick, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Looking forward to another episode. We'll be back on Tuesday, I think. No, today's Tuesday, so we'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday. And yeah, we'll be speaking to you all soon. Bye for now. All right. I'm just going to stop this recording.